To begin with, Bitcoin can be thought of as a digital cash. Digital gold is a good name for it. It can be thought of as digital cash. You can think of it as net cash. You might think of it as digital land. It's like digital money. It can be thought of as computer power. It's like a digital treasure. This came about because of the Bitcoin business. So if you've heard about it for a few minutes or an hour, the first thing that comes to mind is cryptocurrency. There is some kind of digital thing called crypto. And money, it has to be money. CEO and co-founder of MicroStrategy Michael Saylor told CNN's Guy Adami what he thinks the next step will be for Bitcoin to become more popular. Saylor thought about what might happen. MicroStrategy's CEO says that new data from the Institute of International Finance shows that the global economy has reached a turning point that will cause Bitcoin prices to rise. The United States, France, and Germany, along with other developed markets, added more than half of the world's new debt. It went up by $1.3 trillion to a record $315 trillion in the first quarter of 2024. The world debt to GDP ratio has been going down for a year because of debt and not enough work. It is now above 300%. Saylor believes that the world's economy is changing in a way that can't be undone. This means that investors from sovereign wealth countries to multi-billion-dollar companies need to change how they spend right away. Saylor is optimistic about Bitcoin because this change will make it more popular and raise the price. Here are some important parts of Saylor's conversation with Adami. Like this video, make sure you follow the station and set post alerts to get more. Thanks for seeing. People then think that it must be money since the white paper's cover page described it as an electronic cash system. Because of this, most of the arguments and criticism in this business are just about words and how they are used. A lot of the time, people will hear one of those words and immediately form an opinion based on their life experiences, what they learned in school, or what they know about business. This opinion could be about the economy, politics, or academia without first talking about what the words mean or even if they are relevant, like, peer-to-peer. What is a friend then? The Bank of Japan is similar to the Bank of England, right? It's possible that Satoshi meant a peer-to-peer system for moving money between central banks, commercial banks, Apple, Google, and companies. What if you thought of peers as huge business banks or countries? That would be different from thinking of peers as regular people like me who want to send $5 to a friend. So Satoshi meant for Bitcoin to be used to send $5 directly between 8 billion people, right? If you think the second option, you have a very different view on whether it works or not than if you think the first option. So what does the word peer mean? Now, what does the word cash mean? I guess a lot of people think that cash is the money they carry around with them, like $5 or $20 or $20 bills. That's why they think of peer-to-peer tech cash. Okay, I'm going to send $20 bills to buy coffee, because that's what I do with them. That's why it turns into a big argument. It's clear that it's not a good way to buy coffee. A million people can't use it to buy coffee. The price changes all the time. I think it's not going to work then. But of course, that depends on how you define cash. You could say that cash is paper currency in small amounts. But, when the King of Spain wanted to pay for the war in the Netherlands, he sent a fleet of ships with lots of gold on board to cover the whole cost. That was money. That fleet washed up on Queen Elizabeth's shores. The gold was stolen. It ruined the war effort in Spain and the Netherlands. So now there is, a Protestant Netherlands. But, is a $1 billion gold note. Let's say Satoshi talked about peer-to-peer electronic cash. He may have meant moving $1 billion worth of gold between the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the Swiss Bank, Citigroup, or JP Morgan. Okay, if that's how you read the words, then cash is money, money cash. Bank of America says gold is money. You get credit for everything else. Okay, if you thought that cash meant money and not credit and peer-to-peer meant any two people. Okay, so Bitcoin might not even be digital money after all, right? Money that is digital. An example of a real digital currency or something very close to it right now would be a steady coin or tether. And if I could move a stable coin worth $87 at the speed of light on a crypto rail with no know your customer KYC checks or government controls, that would feel like digital currency, completely private digital currency. Now, let's say someone asks, do you like Bitcoin? You then think, oh, Bitcoin, the digital money. Then you could say something like, no, I like the dollar better, which is what a politician said a few years ago. When Dorsey was CEO of Twitter, he put up a document on the site called Bitcoin Blueprint for Business Balance Sheets. The document says that the company is introducing a new corporate balance sheet dollar cost average DCA program in which it will invest 10% of its monthly gross profit from Bitcoin products. Each month, the program will invest this amount of money. When the company talked to Atomy, they also told him about the Bitcoins they currently own, which include purchases made in 2020 and 2021. The document says that as of March 31, 2024, Square had 8,038 Bitcoin, which was about 9% of its total cash equivalents, and marketable assets. If the world economy keeps getting worse, Sayer says that Block will be the first company to do this. Many more will follow in the years to come. Let's talk about it again. Okay, because you thought Bitcoin was fighting with the dollar and that someone was asking you if Bitcoin would take the place of the dollar. So if you think it's digital currency and you think of the dollar, the euro, or the yen, then it means that we're going to replace your country's currency with Bitcoin, whether it's the dollar, the euro, the yen, or the CNY. Now, the whole establishment is against it, most bankers, most traditional economists, and every leader in the establishment. Politicians will fight it because they don't want the dollar to fall apart. These things make the US strong and are worth many trillions of dollars every year. So it's clear why we like that if you're an American leader. If you're a classically trained economist, on the other hand, you might say, well, the dollar needs to be stable. We need to be able to print more money, and everything is priced in dollars, and that's why classical economics don't like it and say bad things about it. What would an accountant say? Well, it turns out that every big company in the world has accounting systems, they'd say. SAP, Oracle, those accounting tools cost more than almost everything else they bought. There are a lot of big companies that have spent a lot of money on accounting tools. All of them are wired in yen, dollars, euros, and Chinese yuan. The board of directors would fire you if you, as CEO, said, hey, we're just going to replace our US dollar-based accounting systems with another system the whole finance department was going to quit. Everyone who owned stock in your company would sell it. Most likely, your accountants would quit making a lot of noise, and your business would fail. That doesn't work then. You can see why just by saying the word digital currency, I will get a negative response. Now, let's change the subject to digital gold. Many times you go to 1,000 wealthy families and ask them, hey, do you like Bitcoin? It's like digital gold. They say, that's interesting, I don't have any cash. Please name one person who has made $1 billion by investing in gold. Not at all. I can't think of a single millionaire who will say they have $1 billion worth of gold. Out of all the wealthy people I know, not a single one would ever say, we made billions of dollars and went and bought $1 billion worth of gold. Well, that's fine, gold is broken. It doesn't matter why, I could tell you in 2 hours. We fixed it with Bitcoin, that's all. Everyone can say, okay, I guess you fixed something I didn't like, it is a bad product that is good for you, but I don't have any. That does lead you in a different direction. Let's change it to digital property now. Now let's say you want to buy 1 billion Bitcoins. Oh, it's gold in the cloud. I'm not going to. They're planning to 6,100 to me. I think the government takes gold away when there is too much of it. You think it's gold and are afraid the government will take it because it backs the money. This is how you've always thought. If I tell a rich person, do you want to buy $1 billion house? Where? Why Miami Beach? Yes, of course. What about New York? Yes, of course. London would be great. I guess so. Would you like $1 billion worth of digital real estate in the best city in cyberspace? Looks good. Going to Donald Trump and telling him, hey, I'm going to put $1 billion into digital property instead of real property in LA, he would probably say, okay, that's cool. That is, if you call it. How many people will say, oh, I'm rich, I bought a building in Miami Beach worth $1 billion, but I'm afraid the government will take it back. No one ever said the government would tear down my $1 billion building, did they? Some people are skeptical and say, oh, that can't be true, it will be illegal, but no one ever said that the government would not allow a building. This means that if you believe it is property, it becomes a very simple statement. As long as you think it's gold, I'll call it the good, bad, and ugly guy. Bitcoin is digital property is a good story or plan. If you think Bitcoin is digital gold, you're wrong. The bad idea is that Bitcoin is a digital currency. It all comes down to one word, and as soon as you say it, someone will say what they think. One more thing, and here's another question. I can be in a room full of millionaires and say that Bitcoin is a digital currency. Every single one of them would flinch and say, I know that's not going to fly here, and I can't come out against the real, the peso, the dollar, the euro, the CNY, the whatever, so all you have to do is say that, and you'll get a no right away. I could also ask, what is Bitcoin? Why should I get it? I bought it because it's a digital item. It's the biggest city in internet, with 21 million blocks to work with. And I think that one day everyone with money will want to live there. You made a good point when you said that sailors can compare Bitcoin to real estate in big towns like New York. Neither does it show how much the object is worth, but it does tell you if it's too late to buy. A few years ago, the CEO of MicroStrategy said that New York was the best city in North America by 1776, which is more than 100 years after Dutch colonists first settled there in 1624. In 1776, anyone in New York who wanted to buy land would have thought they were ahead of the game. Those who got in early were in for a big treat. Still, people keep putting money into the city and getting great results. Saylor believes Bitcoin will go through the same thing. Some people bought it for less than $100, while others got it for $10,000. People from all walks of life will make a lot of money when the price of a coin goes up to $100,000 or even $1 million. Michael Saylor wants to make the most important digital product last for a long time. What do you think? Don't forget to click like on this movie and share your thoughts in comments below. To see more movies, follow the channel and turn on post alerts. Thanks for coming.